here at the 8 o'clock position on Atlantis Spaceship is our blue Protoss player, reigning Fight Club champion, but down 3-4 here in this best of 9. It is Creator.Prime. And his opponent at the 12 o'clock position, our red Terran player just one game away from taking the set. It is Liquid TaeJa.
Yeah, TaeJa's played so well this series. I've been really, really impressed with him. I mean, he's done so many little subtle things to throw Creator.Prime off of his game. I mean, he's changed his build orders a little bit. He's been sneaking buildings here and there, hiding command centers. I mean, he has really played a lot of mind games with Creator.Prime this series, and it has really worked out well. Creator.Prime is really a Protoss player that relies on being able to respond effectively to what his opponent is doing, and kind of relies on being able to play that really safe, really strong style, get maxed out, and then push out. And I honestly don't think that TaeJa has allowed Creator.Prime to get maxed out one time in this entire series.
I don't believe so as well. In fact, we've not really seen any games get to that point. A couple have threatened. I mean, we saw the game on Taldra Malter could have gotten there. TaeJa did a lot of damage, took out his opponent's third, and then we saw that Creator.Prime came back and basically won the game with the next push, but that one could have gotten there. The game on Metropolis could have gotten there that we just saw. But yeah, I mean, these games have all been decided pretty quickly. TaeJa in this circumstance is saving up quite a bit of SCV, so we will be going Command Center first, and that's going to be answered by a Nexus first out of Creator. So both these guys with very, very heavy economic builds.
Yeah, Creator really hasn't played any different than he usually does. I mean, he does try to just get that really good economy going very quickly. TaeJa, though, although he does like to get that economy going quickly, he will, follow that up by a lot of really strong timings too. And I gotta say, I love it so much that TaeJa got that command center on the high ground. I think that is so good that we're seeing Terran players do that. A lot of them build it on the low ground, and they pay for it. They take damage on their SCVs. They have to pull another one to defend and all that. But I like that TaeJa's building it on the high ground. I feel like that's the better way to go, honestly.
Well, he will be a lot more safe and is putting down 2 barracks afterwards as well, so reminiscent of the first game on Daybreak.
Yep.
And in a lot of ways, Atlantis Spaceship and Daybreak do play out pretty similarly. It's very easy to do that 3 Nexus, 8 gate style that we saw from Parting on this map. A lot of similar strategies can exist, but this map is a lot larger and tends to lend itself to very long, good macro games. I think it's produced some of the best games of any map that we've had in the map pool. And if any game is going to go the distance, this one could certainly be it.
Yeah, that SCV is surviving for a long time too, man. I mean, or that probe rather. It's getting a lot of good scouting information and maybe kind of slowing down what TaeJa's trying to do here. He will have a Marine out very, very soon, though, so he will be able to chase away that probe.
That's right. And he is getting a pretty good look at his opponent's base as well. As we can see, it was a Nexus first into normal gate with 2 gas. We'll see what he's going to save up for, if it's going to be a quick robotics facility, or if he's just going to start pumping out some gateway units in a bit.
That probe finally goes down, and what will we see from TaeJa? Will it be 2 gas? Will it be more barracks? This is where things get interesting.
It could be another command center.
I think it is. I think it's going to be another command center. Yep, there it is. Yeah, 3rd command center really, really quick. So TaeJa really relying a lot on this style. I mean, he must really have a lot of faith in this really quick 3 command center versus Protoss. This is a little bit different than we normally see.
Well, we saw it was pretty hard countered by that 7 gate that Creator did in game number 1.
Yeah.
But apart from that, it's given him some survivability with the bunkers up in the front, and it's allowed him to invest in his infrastructure and then just start producing amazing amounts of highly upgraded units pretty early on. So
absolutely. I mean, it's kind of like it's the same effect, so to speak. Well, sort of, in terms of getting a really fast 3rd hatchery for Zerg. You can drone up really, really quickly. That's why we see players on the Zerg side of things maxing out at like 11 minutes, because when you can get that huge boost of workers early on, then that means your army is just going to be that much bigger, that much faster. And look at that. Yeah, I love it. Fast 3rd Nexus from Creator.Prime. He's so good at reading his opponents most of the time, but TaeJa's really been making him, giving him a run for his money. But overall, I think he's one of the better Protoss players out there at responding correctly.
I agree. And if we see what happens, if he does what he did in game number 1 on Daybreak, he's going to chain produce about 5 sentries and then just produce 7 gates and go, which could be effective once again. TaeJa, though, already putting on 2 bunkers. Now, we saw this on Daybreak as well, and then he hesitates on the 3rd until he absolutely needs it or sees something out of the ordinary. So
Well, this is a really good map for the really, really high gateway style that we see players like Creator and Parting and lots of other Protoss players right now do. Just because it is a little bit tougher for Terran to defend that choke point.
Oh, boy.
And there's 6 more gates. Yeah, so we are actually going to go up to a total of 8 gates, I think, right?
I think it's 7.
Is it 7 or 8?
It's just 7 for now.
7, yeah. Okay, so 7 gates again. You know, again, a situation where he's almost all in. He can still sort of macro his way out of it a bit. The problem is that his tech is going to be behind if the push doesn't work, but it's not quite as hugely all in as something like an 8 gate would be, too.
That's right.
Yeah.
So now for TaeJa, he is just producing off of 2. Oh, wow. This is the first time we've started to see the introduction of tanks into his composition as well. And he's already building a 3rd bunker. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is a much different situation. If this first tank gets out before and with siege mode, before anything else, plops right here on the high ground, and there's a 3rd bunker up, that army is going to be in a lot worse shape for Creator.
Yep, he'll need to have something like an observer, which means he would need to make a robo and take even more time to do that. But yeah, as long as it's not like only 1 siege tank, as long as it's like 2 or 3, Creator.Prime should have to pull back relatively quickly. There's the 2nd tank started right now for Liquid TaeJa, and that's going to be really, really important for him. I mean, 1 tank does a decent amount of damage, but I feel it's really like 2 to 3 you need in this situation to hold things off effectively, but I think he's in a good spot.
Still 20 seconds away from having that siege tank, but of course the siege tank still does have 7 range on the high ground. We'll be able to, in punk mode, take out a number of these stalkers with its relatively high DPS. Oh, and TaeJa knows what's happening.
That's
he just ran out with that SEV. Is he going to be ready in time? Oh, and siege mode just finishes at exactly the moment that Creator wants to move in. So now the tanks are firing from the high ground. All of these bunkers are pretty close to going down. 1 falls right away. The 2nd goes down pretty quickly as well.
Oh,
this
nice
3rd
target
one is
fire.
off to the side. Yeah, great job picking up all those sentries. There's just 2 remaining, and it looks like those are going to fall pretty quickly as well. And TaeJa, he will be able to hold this.
He will, but he's going to have to vacate his natural expansion too, and that's going to be a bit of a problem. This is actually really good for Creator.Prime. It's going to give him plenty of time to get his 3 bases going, but, you know, he's going to need to worry a little bit about a counterattack here.
Yeah, I mean, this is certainly a big change from what we saw in the first time that Creator tried this. He is going to pick off a few more Marines here, but he is losing a lot of Stalkers to get this done. How many SCVs did he kill? 24, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
There are 38 workers, 259 at the moment, but these tanks are proving to be so helpful in this defense, and the supplies are almost even.
I'm interested to see what TaeJa does now. Does he just decide to go for it, try to take advantage of his opponent's weakness? I think it'd be a better idea to sit at home and just kind of try to resaturate here too. He may not have quite enough to take on Creator.Prime. I mean, even though Creator.Prime did lose that army, he still did a ton of damage with that. I'd say that was worth it. It was 7 gates. It was not 8 gates. It wasn't all in. He did enough damage that the sacrifice of his early tech, I think it was worth it.
I think it's really close because he is, I mean, obviously he knows tanks are already out there, and that TaeJa does have a massive tech advantage at the moment. So, and we've talked about this on cast before. Sometimes you don't necessarily go economically all in, as of course this 3-base build is not, but sometimes you go tech all in, and it's close to that because we're already going to have 1-1 finished up. Actually, it's going to be 2-1 finished up for TaeJa before 1-1 finishes up for Creator. We already see the reinvestment back into ship weapons to prepare for any sort of Colossi that'll eventually hit the field. So I think that Creator did some damage there, but TaeJa is certainly not in the worst spot in the world.
Yeah, I mean, he's got some catching up to do, and a lot of all-ins, like for instance, I suppose we could sort of use what we just saw as an example, are only all-in if you don't do damage. So Creator.Prime's in a perfectly fine spot. Even though the supplies are still fairly even, I feel like Creator.Prime is actually in a pretty good spot right here because he's going to be able to, get his army up to max probably a little bit quicker than TaeJa can. TaeJa's moving out with this right now, but, will he really be able to do substantial damage with it? That's the question here.
Well, we'll find out in a bit. It's about a 9-worker advantage for Creator. That is the supply difference between these two guys, so it is just army difference for now. Zealots do not have charge, the Stalkers do not have blink, and 1-1 is not quite finished up for Creator at the moment. see if TaeJa... Oh, look at this. This is so smart. He's going to drop the tanks on the high ground so he can siege those up and continue to do damage while he pushes. Oh, wow. This is so cool.
So smart. That's so good. This is almost like when you're attacking the gold on Scrap Station. Oh, this is so funny.
Oh, TaeJa, that is awesome.
That is brilliant, man. I mean, TaeJa is really in the best spot now to do some damage with this. The army's still looking a little bit small, but he manages to catch a piece of it a little bit out of position because of his siege tanks.
That's right, and those zealots went down so quick.
What are the stalkers doing?
Oh no, I think they were pulled out by the damage that the tanks were doing, so unfortunately they're not there in this fight, and TaeJa is going to win a pretty big victory for himself right now.
Well, no vision on the high ground for Creator except for that Colossus right now, but he doesn't have time. It's just not going to work. The Colossus goes down. The tanks are taking damage from zealots on the high ground, and Creator.Prime will push it back, it looks like. That's a very good push from TaeJa, but Creator.Prime, for now anyway, just barely able to hold off.
That's right.
Oh, thought that was a drop, but it's actually a factory. Well, the factory does drop into the main.
So kind of right. And we'll see if it produces any Hellions in a second to be a little bit annoying, do a little bit of damage. At the very least, it's going to pull some resources away for Creator. And Creator, once again, charges on the way, but not finished up, and he's largely working off of these zealots. But TaeJa is already sitting on +2 weapons, so he has the upgrade advantage. He's actually tearing through the zealots pretty well.
Oh, the Colossus. Oh, it does get taken out. Yeah, Creator.Prime moving a little bit too far ahead, but TaeJa taking a lot of damage to his army because of that as well. We noticed just a moment ago Creator.Prime did focus down 1 or 2 of those medevacs as well, which really reduces the effectiveness of the army of Liquid TaeJa. So things still very back and forth right now.
But, yeah, I mean, this is getting very interesting. +2 armor is just about to finish now for TaeJa, and he's already got +3 weapons on the way. So he is going to be dead even with his opponent on upgrades here in about 10 seconds. So, with that being said, let's kind of take stock of the situation. This factory's going to have to get out of there. Double Forge is producing for Creator. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 gateways, I believe, for now. So 8 gates is not terrible. TaeJa, on the other hand, is going up to a total of 10 barracks and 2 starports, and his 4th base as well. So TaeJa is certainly going to have the better production here in a second, but Creator's going to have an opportunity to do some damage.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, his biggest problem right now is that he's lost 2 Colossi, and that really, really reduces his ability to actually move out across the map. He has to kind of sit back and play defensive, and you can see TaeJa's taking advantage of that. He's going to lose his factory, but he is taking a 4th base at that middle area with the high Vespin Geyser, the rich Vespin Geyser, that is. So he's going to try to take advantage of that as well. Moving in here, and imagine if Creator had 2 more Colossi. That'd be pretty helpful.
That's right.
Charge is done.
Do have charge, though, and he's on even upgrades for the moment with his opponent. TaeJa has to move back. The charge lot's actually doing quite a bit of damage, but now that they're all through, we're going to see if TaeJa's able to move up against this, and indeed he is, starting to go after the Colossi as well. One of those is about to fall. The second going to go down in a second. Gets out of there. No, it doesn't. Falls before the reinforcements and charge lots are able to make their way out.
I gotta say, I'm a little bit surprised that Creator.Prime is letting his Colossi die with that. Those are his lifeline to staying in this game. Those are the most important units he has right now, and he's lost 4 already this game. That is way too many. TaeJa not able to break Creator just yet there, but it's so close every single time, you know?
Yeah, just getting closer and closer, and he feels confident enough to take this orbital command and not turn that into a planetary fortress, so things have gone a little bit differently. That wouldn't be the case. Now, Creator is almost mined out of his main. He's got to be looking at a 4th base very quickly, especially because he was started saturating these 3 bases so early on. As we can see, even his 3rd is about to run out of resources, so he needs to take not just 1, but probably 2 expansions very quickly.
Yeah, well, I mean, what he would love to do in this case, I'm sure, is to max out on 3 bases and then just go for a big, strong death ball style push. But like you said, I mean, he lost so much right now that he is probably going to need another base if he's going to move up to that big maxed army and have the ability to continue creating units after that maxed army takes some casualties in a big fight. I mean, he's got a decent amount of supply right now, but Liquid TaeJa, with his 4th base going, with his upgrades, with his production, is just a little bit ahead. And nice control by TaeJa. Look at that, not losing a single unit.
That's so good.
Man, he's playing well.
All right. Well, Medivacs get a little bit too far ahead, and but this force just seems so small compared to what TaeJa has on the field. And the Zealots, they're just filtering through only a couple at a time. And the first 3 went down very quickly. The Archon falls after that as well. Creator is losing the vast majority of his forces. His sentries were lagging behind with the Guardian Shield. Everything is going to go down, and it looks like our reigning champion is out. TaeJa has won IPL Fight Club.